Hey guys, it's Ryan with Mama on Mission, and today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about clutter and decluttering and all of the craziness that enters our house this time of year as far as just stuff goes. Um, and I know kind of the KonMari and all this different stuff is really popular right now, and I'll tell you up front, I don't read those books, I don't watch the show. I mean, that's just not my thing. Um, but I've always been one that has been overwhelmed by stuff. Um, so every year for the last several years, at least, as long as I can remember, um, around Thanksgiving, I start just going through my house, especially my kids' rooms, and just getting rid of stuff, minimizing our stuff a lot because I know that a lot of stuff's getting ready to come in on top of all the like Christmas decorations and stuff that are already kind of crowding your house. So, my problem is, though, especially this year, was finding time to do it and not feeling guilty doing it. My kids, we do kind of like a toy rotation. I don't just let them have free range over all their stuff all the time because I want them to truly appreciate what they have and actually play with it and not just let it get lost in the sea of toys. Um, so my boys' stuff actually doesn't get too well used. Um, and so therefore I just keep and keep and keep and keep, and then we end up with a whole bunch of stuff that we don't need. So I have kind of implemented three tips that I've just found have worked for me that I thought I would share with you to help the guilt and to help the overwhelm and to help you find time to do these things. Because that's my biggest thing is just finding time. And I thought I could knock it all out Thanksgiving week because we took that whole week off school, and I got a big dent in it, but I still have a long ways to go. So, and I mean, let's face it, like, I don't know, maybe any of you, maybe some of you had success with this, but no matter how many times you tell people, like, please don't get my kid gifts, or if you get them gifts, let them be experiences or, things that don't take up space or consumable things or classes or whatever, it doesn't happen. Like, I think that's just like the grandparents' right at Christmas. I don't know. So I know the stuff's coming, so I just have to prepare for it. Um, so my first tip would be um, in relation to time, like how do I have the time to do this? I don't have the time to do it. So what I did was I just told myself, like, we're going to take it one drawer at a time, one shelf at a time, not even like a room. We're going to take it like little tiny bits at a time. Um, and and then sometimes I'll even just say, okay, you're going to set aside an hour or 30 minutes or even 15 minutes and just see what you can get done in that amount of time. Because you may not have 2 hours every day to dedicate to this until it's done. But that was kind of paralyzing me and making me feel like I couldn't do anything. And once I started, like, I still remember the feeling of getting that first drawer done. It was one drawer in my kitchen, and I felt like $1,000,000 after it got done because I got rid of like a small box of stuff from one drawer. Um, so no matter if you just take a chunk of time and just, even if you set a timer and say, I'm working on it for this amount of time, I'm dedicating it to decluttering whatever area. Or if you just say, this area, I'm doing this closet or this drawer or this shelf, it helps a lot. And it helps me because I can see progress. I can see that little box of stuff that I filled, or little box that I filled with stuff from the drawer, and makes me feel like, hey, I can do this. Look at what I'm getting rid of already. But it also helps me not to feel completely overwhelmed, feeling like I have to do it all in one day. So, my second tip would be like the how. And this is also part of the overwhelm. Like, sometimes you look at an area and you're like, okay, I'm setting aside this time, but what do I do? Where do I start? And what I do is I take everything out of whatever, if it's just a shelf, if it's just a drawer, if it's an entire closet, whatever it is that I'm doing at that moment, I take it all out so that I can see it all, which I know that is in some of the books. I don't read the books, but I've heard people talk about that. Um, and then I have to decide everything. Do I donate it? Do I sell it? Like, is it worth taking the time to post it and to wait for a reply and sell it? Um, is it junk and it just needs to be thrown away? Or is it something that I actually need or love or just want to keep? Um, and I mean, you can use whatever method I guess you see fit. I don't do the whole like, does this bring me joy thing, because there's a lot of things that don't bring me joy that I, have to have. Washer and dryer, for example. Um, so you can think, does this bring me joy? Do I actually need this? Do I have more than one of these? Have I touched this in a year? That's my big thing. Like, I was like, oh yeah, I'll need that someday. I'll need that someday. And then this time going through, I'm just like, I haven't touched this in 2 years. Like, I don't need it. Um, and so it was this time around, it was the first time that I was truly realistic. I've done a lot of decluttering before and it has helped every time. But this time I'm just like, okay, let's get realistic. Like, do I really need this? Do my kids really love this? Whatever it may be. And I've gotten rid of more this time than I ever have. And then once you've decided all of these things, I put them into piles. So I make a donate pile and a sell pile and a keep pile and a trash pile. And then I move the piles to their designated spots. So if I'm keeping it, I find a home for it right away. If I'm throwing it away, I throw it away right then. Take a trash bag, fill it up, take it to the dumpster. If I am donating it, I try to take it to my car right away. Sometimes that doesn't always happen because my husband likes to take like a big load at a time. So we typically put it in a spot in our garage until we have enough to make a full load. And if I'm selling it, then I have another spot in my garage for it. But I give myself like 2 weeks to get the post up because it takes a while to like take the pictures and post it all on Craigslist or Facebook or wherever you're selling it. And then I only give myself about 2 weeks to try to sell that. And if it doesn't sell, then I donate it because I don't want to just keep hanging on to it, waiting to make some money off of it. And once I have taken all those things to their designated spot, then I'm done for the day. And so that helps me, again, not to feel overwhelmed. Like, where do I start? And not to feel like, oh my gosh, and now I have to do this, this, and this. No, I move it to a designated spot in the garage. And then when we have a load full to donate, we take it. When I have stuff sold, I obviously deliver it to the person. And if I don't sell it, then it gets donated. But everything has its space. And it can't sit in my garage very long anyway because my husband gets really mad if it does. So that helps too. And step number 3, to help me not feel so bad about getting rid of some of the stuff, because I'm always like, I'm not a super sentimental person, but I feel bad. Like if someone came and asked me, hey, do you still have such and such? I feel bad telling people no. I feel bad telling them that I've given away a gift that they have given me or my kids. And I know it's kind of like unrealistic to be sad about that, but I don't know. I just feel bad about that sometimes. But getting the kids involved has really helped me because they have helped me make some decisions that I didn't feel good making. But then I will add this. There comes a point when they just need to like not be part of the process anymore because there's things that I know need to go and I don't want to fight with them over it. So my kids, and I'm sure any kids, are good pile movers. So if you say, hey, see all this stuff, it needs to go to that pile, or it needs to go in this box, or it needs to go in this trash bag, then they're really good at that. But my kids are also motivated by, telling them why we're doing this, telling them that, look, we're freeing up space so that you have more room to play. My boys chose to get rid of 2 big toys that were taking up a lot of space in their room. And when I took them to the garage, they were like, wow, look at all this space we have. And I was like, yeah, like that's part of why we're doing this, is so that we can move freely in our house. And so we do it to free up space. We do it because there might be other people who actually need this stuff and we don't really need it. And that's where the donations come in. And that's where even selling stuff comes in, because I sell stuff real cheap because I want to get rid of it. I'm not trying to like pull one over on anybody. I just want it out of my house, but it was worth kind of a lot of money. So I want to maybe make a little bit, but regardless, whoever it is typically getting a really good deal. So this is going to free up space. It's going to go to people who need it. And, the third thing, just helping them remember that these are just things. that this is not our treasure. Our treasure is in heaven, and things are disposable. Things come and go, and we can't let them take um, priority in our hearts. So that motivates them. Um, and then for some of the harder items, like those two big items I told you about in their rooms, I let them know that I am going to try to sell some of those bigger things, or some of those things that are more valuable. And if they are their things, then I am letting them choose to use the money on something, not something that's going to reclutter our house. But they've really been wanting this new video game. Okay, video games, it's a Switch game, so it's like little tiny. Um, but those are expensive, and I'm not the parent that just goes and buys them things when they want them. Um, so that's kind of their goal, is to make enough money to buy this Switch game that they really want. Um, and so obviously they're very motivated by that, because some of the things they weren't so sure about, and they're like, well, I'd rather have a Switch game. And so then they would freely give it away. And then, but you can also, instead of, if you don't do video games, I mean, you could do, hey, let's use this to buy movie tickets. If we make any money, let's go buy movie tickets and go see whatever the new movie is out they want to see. Or let's go ice skating. Or let's buy, if you make a lot of money, let's go buy season passes to the theme park or to the zoo or whatever. And my kids are just really motivated by that type of stuff. And then when it came down to things that, yes, they still played with, but they just have so many of them, aka Hot Wheels, Legos, stuff like that. I just said, okay, we're dividing this in half, or we're getting rid of a third of these, just because we have too much. You can't possibly play with all of these all the time. And so I let them choose. We laid out all their Hot Wheels, and I said, okay, first pick your 10 favorites. And so they picked theirs, and I'm like, okay, now pick 10 that you don't really care about. And then we would ditch them. Okay, now pick 10 more that you really love. And we would do that until we got down to half. And then half the Hot Wheels are done with. They're gone. And it takes up half the amount of space now in their closet. And we did the same type of things with Lego sets. After they would assemble a Lego set, they would put them in Ziploc bags. And we had half a closet full of those things. And I'm like, why? So I divided those in half too. I said, okay, let's keep half and ditch half, or sell half. We're going to try to sell them because Legos are pretty pricey too. And we did the same thing with like their Transformers and stuff like that they just had tons of. So by the end of it, I ended up throwing away at least 4 big like black construction trash bags of just trash, a lot of papers, a lot of, not very many broken toys, but we had some McDonald's toys, stuff like that gets thrown to the bottom of toy boxes. And then stuff that was just too well used to like justify donating it. And then I will insert a picture here of everything that's in my garage currently waiting to be loaded up and donated and or sold. And that's about 50-50. About half of what you see is for donation, about half is for selling. And I've already taken, I think, 2 loads to Goodwill for donating. So we are making progress. And that is only from my kitchen, I have like a little back mudroom area, and my baby's room and my big boy's room. I still have to do my coat closets, which I have all our games and stuff in it. I still have to do our entertainment center that has all our DVDs and video games in it. I still have to do my bedroom. I still have to do under the sink in the bathroom, both bathrooms. So I'm still not done, but the kids' rooms were like the big majority, and the kitchen. The kitchen needed it bad too. So that's my progress so far. I will update you more when we have completed this. Like I said, it's a long, drawn out process, but that's just because I'm taking it one step at a time, because that's the only way it's going to get done right now. So anyway, if you are doing any sort of decluttering for the holidays, or trying to make room for all the stuff that's bound to be entering your home soon, please let me know below how you go about that. And I thank you so much for watching, and I will talk to you next time. Bye.